There- But there's got to be a
It,
podcast out there where it's not someone doing a monologue. I know there's plenty of ones where people do a monologue, but someone that's actually talking to themselves, like responding like conversationally to themselves.
like, have you ever done something that's caused schizophrenic people to message you?
Maybe I don't know, like what?
Two times. I was hanging out with, or I don't know, talking with somebody, and they were like, "You should change your name to Mark Zuckerberg on Facebook," so I could put "I'm in a relationship with Mark Zuckerberg" as a joke, as like her status. And I was like, "All right, I'll just change my nickname to Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not going to change my Facebook name to Mark Zuckerberg." And immediately, like a couple of people were like sharing my profile picture and saying like sending messages with like weird long things of text. And the other time was when yeah, one of them shared my profile pictures a few times and said, "Welcome Spartan to Illuminati" under them. Yeah, the most recently when my Facebook profile was like stolen and hacked and whatever, like someone a few people commented on it who were obviously like fucked in the head because I put something about being hacked and deleted and made
Okay,
it public. I made it public so people who I hadn't friended, who had lost the friendship with, could see it, but I can't. You can't do that because
because
then everyone's insane and comments on it.
anti-Mark made them all run and off screaming, I guess.
Yeah, it's unfortunately the one of the most evil fucking people who's ever lived has the same first name as I do, and I use his platform.
Right.
Glad I'm not named Elon.
That's a very common name, I believe.
Yeah, it will be.
Mm. Let me see. Hey, did you look at my notes?
A little bit. I sort of skimmed him.
Did you get the font?
Oh, was that actually intentional? I thought that was like some kind of error on my end.
Oh,
Shit.
what did you see?
It was a font. It was like a weird pointy font.
Oh, okay, because it was supposed to. I did it. Usually, I do it in Notepad, right? But I did this one in Word because I wanted to use my Village font.
Yeah, I shit. I sorry, was totally lost on me. I thought it was something like it came through wrong.
Oh no, no, it was supposed to be
Anyway,
Village font. Because I got it for the podcast artwork. I assume you've seen the podcast artwork by now.
yeah, cool. Okay.
I even
Yes,
changed.
I get it now.
I even changed the font a little more because Scott was like, "Oh, well, you probably shouldn't use like capital letters, right?"
Yeah, that's a good point.
But then I figured out you can't just use lowercase either. So what I did is the P's and one of the I's I just like pumped up the size by like 5.
You like manually did that?
Yeah.
You know, you can just edit a font, right? You can make your own font. It's not that hard.
No, yeah, but I wanted. I'm not gonna make my own font. I wanted their font. Yeah.
It's not super hard. It's like just a big picture file and you just
I know
never mind.
it's hard to find.
It's
But it's
probably easier to do that than to individually change specific letters
oh no
to
no
make
no no
them
no
different sizes.
I download a font. I'm just saying like you type it out and then you like highlight a letter and change it from like like 68 point to 75 point. That doesn't take long.
Yeah. I
Just
don't know.
the
I guess
just the
I'm
size.
thinking like it'll be easier to make a font, but whatever. Whatever you do, you. Man.
Well, no, I got the font.
I fucked up. I fucked up and didn't subscribe to the podcast, so I didn't realize there were 2 other episodes out that I should put on social media. So I have to do that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well,
I thought
I
it
mean,
was coming out like bi-weekly or something.
oh, I didn't really think there's a reason to do it biweekly. We're like 8
Just because we
ahead.
haven't done all of it yet.
This is number
That was the
9.
only reason.
This is number 9
Number
today.
9.
Yeah,
Number 9.
number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9. Shit, I forgot to look up. Oh, I wanted a piece of trivia in front of me before we talked about this.
We haven't started yet, so it doesn't really matter.
Number 9. Sorry. Podcasting.
See, think about how awesome it would be if all of that was just like one person. Like everything you and I just said was just one person.
I mean, that probably maybe it I feel like people who talk like I've found that most drastically mentally ill people are actually not interesting or fun or funny,
Right.
unfortunately.
This would be just like your favorite podcast, but it would be one person responding to themselves.
There is actually a podcaster whose podcast I do like, who has a podcast where he just talks for 30 minutes, and it's
Like I
supposed
said,
to be like,
not a monologue though, an actual
I
conversation with
don't know what
yourself.
it's like because I haven't listened to it yet.
Okay.
I mean, it's like 10 years old, but I haven't listened to it because it sounds like excruciating. I don't know. Maybe I'll send it to you.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe you want to be excruciated upon.
I did that last night. I watched Tacos putting on the Ritz video like several times.
Taco?
Yeah,
Is that like the 80s putting on the Ritz or something?
that's right. The artist's name
Okay.
is Taco.
Never knew that. What was it with the 80s where they would just re-record all those like old songs with like new synthesizers and
You've
just
seen
make
the
hits out of them?
you've seen the video, right?
Probably. I can't,
I'll
not
send that to
picturing
you.
it.
Okay. Oh, you've not seen it then because it'll sear itself into your nightmares.
Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Maybe it will.
For me, it's like nightmare fuel. Like that's like the epitome of nightmarish shit. I
Mm.
mean, without being just like gore and monsters and stuff, you know.
I'm trying to think of it. I mean, the only video I could think of that's like Nightmare Fuel is literally Thriller, but that was supposed to be Nightmare Fuel.
This one you can't tell if it's supposed to be nightmare fuel or not, which is part of its charm.
Mm.
I guess we should do.
All right, yeah, let's do this Nightmare Fuel.
Okay. I don't know. I guess you should do an intro sometimes because you
Yeah,
did some of them.
I
I
was gonna
forgot
do it.
you can do it. It's
I
you.
will do it. Welcome to Imprisoned in Prison, a prisoner prison cast. I'm your host, Mark Malik.
You didn't say
This is
comma. It's comma the right
comma
the. Okay.
the
We want everything to be grammatically and punctuation.
welcome to the
correct.
prisoner, wow. Welcome.
Hi. This is Matt here. I'm the other person talking. It's not all just Mark
You
having a
are.
conversation with himself.
But it
That would
could be if
that'd
you
be
give enough to our Patreon.
right. Not like I said, not a monologue, but you're actually just having a conversation with yourself for an hour.
Well, it could happen.
Yep.
It definitely could have already happened today off mic.
Yes. So today it's many happy returns, episode 9. Maybe we've decided it's episode 9, or my DVDs decide it's episode 9. So
In most cases, it's near the middle.
okay. So this is
In
kind of
most
like
orders.
this is like
Even though
what? You're gonna blow my mind.
though in production order it was number 13,
Ooh, lucky.
which puts it at the very end of the episodes that George Markstein worked on.
Oh yeah. So they did the finale before this?
No, after. George
Oh,
Markstein
okay.
was out before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he and let's just get to the trivia since we've already just gone to the trivia.
Dizz'll do it.
This episode is the second directed by Patrick McGoohan after previously directing Free for All, being the first episode after the pilot that we
Maybe.
watched. It's the first episode we watched after the pilot. That's especially impressive because he spends so much of this episode just on screen alone, not talking to himself. He'll be directing 3 more after this, including the series finale. George Markstein left after this episode because he had a disagreement with Patrick McGoohan over how the series should end. What did he not like about it? I guess we'll find out in about 8 episodes. He does make a cameo as the man at the front desk at number 6's office, just like he does in the opening credits. It originally aired on November 10th, 1967. McGoohan also co-wrote the episode with Anthony Skeen, the two previously wrote Dance of the Dead together, and Anthony Skeen wrote A, B, and C by himself. You may remember that from previous episodes. Mrs. Butterworth, aka this week's number 2, is played by Georgina Cookson, whom you might remember as one of the party guests inside number 6's head in A, B, and C. She was a skilled actor of stage, film, and television whose career dated back to the 1940s, previously appearing in Your Past is Showing and Your Money or Your Wife. Donald Sinden appears as the Colonel. He was pursuing a career in architecture, but then fell in with a theater company, entertaining the troops in World War II, which led to a theater and then film and TV career. He also appeared in Your Money or Your Wife, and later starred in The Day of the Jackal and Run for Your Wife.
Is that a sequel?
No. Patrick Cargill appears as Thorpe. He was a TV and film actor with a deep resume who is known for his impeccable comic timing. His career lasted until 1990 when he starred in his final role as Neville Chamberlain in the pilot Heil, Honey, I'm Home. He will appear in the future Prisoner episode Hammer into Anvil, which was immediately before this in production order, as another number two. It is left ambiguous whether that number two and Thorpe are the same character. Trivia end.
Right. See, I need that cue, you know.
You got it.
I was still thinking about syrup. This is Buttersworth, isn't that maple syrup?
Yeah, she dispensed some maple syrup in this one, didn't she? Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I heard if you take like at Waffle House, if you get the pancakes and you put an egg on top and then pour
Wait.
syrup on it, it tastes like wedding cake.
What pancakes? They're pancakes at Waffle House?
Maybe it's waffles. I don't know.
Uh,
They don't have pancakes at the
eh,
Waffle House? Seems
I
like
don't
they
think
might.
so. I think they have waffles. Isn't that a whole I could be wrong.
Okay,
Don't
if you take the waffle and put an egg on it and then pour maple syrup on it, it's like a wedding cake. So I'm just trying to make a connection between syrup and cake since she serves one up.
I would absolutely eat that.
Right. Lots of calories, I'm sure. But
I can use
when I was
I'll walk an extra couple miles.
right.
It's fine.
Here's a
I
plot.
do not see a pancake on their menu, but go ahead.
Okay. You might be right. It's been like 12 years since I've been in Waffle House. More. It's been more than 12 years. It's been like 13 years. Okay.
There isn't a
Uh,
Waffle House in Japan. That's sad.
there's even places in America that are devoid of Waffle Houses.
But you have, but you do have the Howard Johnsons, whatever it is, which we don't have anymore.
No, we don't have that. We have Toys R Us,
Oh,
Tower
cool.
Records, although that's a shell of its former self now. Who else is here? That Coco's. Maybe you're thinking of Coco's.
Oh, Coco's. That was
Yeah,
good.
Coco's. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was saying plot. Here we go.
Yep.
Number 6 wakes up to a village devoid of people and with the utilities cut. He crafts a raft, commandeers a boat, and lands on the shores of England. He makes his way back to his swinging pad to find it inhabited by the kindly Mrs. Buttersworth, who says she
Go on.
who says oh what now you're crapping. I think I'm gonna do this one more time. Sorry, I thought I heard the door open behind me. I was like trying to move the windows so I could like now and they're doing that anyway, so I should cut that probably if I remember by the time I edit these.
Not gonna move.
Okay, let's do this one more time. Number 6 wakes up to a village devoid of people and with the utilities cut. He crafts a raft, commandeers a boat, and lands on the shores of England. He makes his way back to his swinging pad to find it inhabited by the kindly Mrs. Buttersworth, who says she has lived there for 10 years. She at least gives the man back his car, KAR, and number 6 drives it back to his old workplace. They are suspicious that number 6 is a double agent, but he proves his story about the village and they get into some hardcore cartography to figure out where it is. With coordinates set, number 6 sets off to find it with a jet pilot. They are successful, but the pilot ejects number 6 and he ends up right back where he started to find returning utilities, roving marching bands, and the new number 2, Mrs. Buttersworth, presenting him with a birthday cake. 'Cause it's your birthday.
And there's a parade.
Yeah, I said
Yay.
roving marching bands. That's a parade. That's a different way of referring to a parade.
There's always a marching band.
Yeah. So,
So
yeah.
do you
What?
think the cat is number one?
Yes, because he
Me
stayed.
too.
He stayed there. You know,
Yeah, he was like looking like he knew something.
it's number one's place. It's the kitty place.
True.
Well, at least now he
It
definitely knows
fits
where he
and he
is.
sits.
And that's a maybe he doesn't know. No, he knows where he is because he was looking at maps the whole time. I was like, the jet pilot could have gone in a different direction, but
That was I'm gonna say uh I don't entirely understand the plan of this episode. No one ever asked why he resigned. It was just sort of and also I guess it required for a specific either he had to be in a specific plane with a specific guy who was going to eject him when they found the island or the village, or everyone was in on it. There isn't
maybe
really a.
maybe they were thinking of letting him join on back up, like they wanted him to unresign in this one.
Do you think maybe they wanted him to unresign and then they kind of remembered how much it sucked to work with him, so they just decided they put him back?
Yeah, that's why they're like, oh, that's an interesting man. Good, that's the way of calling him an arse.
There was
It's like
this,
if someone shows you their painting and you don't like it, you're like, oh, that's interesting.
remember he said something to one of the guys. He said, "If you call me number 6 again, I'll put you in the hospital." Do you think that maybe he was like, "Oh, okay, well then we'll just put you back in the village"?
Yeah, up to that point, he was part of the team again.
He was fine, and they were just like, "Oh, really? Then?"
This man is not charming. He screams at me.
Yeah, the obtuseness of the plot aside, this is one of my favorite episodes of the series so far.
Yeah, and it does that thing of being basically completely silent for the first, God, how long was it? 25 minutes?
Is this a reverse bottle episode?
Because it
Because
takes
of
place everywhere else.
yeah,
It's got a little bit. It's bookended by the village.
outside of the bottle episode.
Okay. But their guest
It's the
stars are
rest of the world, the bottle.
the rest of the world's a bottle. Yeah, this is a large bottle episode. Because
Yeah,
if it was Star Trek, they'd go to another planet, right?
it's a jug episode.
The world is a bottle on top of a turtle that rides an elephant.
And the elephant is number one.
Yes. Okay, where were we? Okay.
I can't find anything on the internet about the language being made up, but it felt like the language was made up when the lady was like, blah, 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 blah.
Oh yeah, I have some notes for that. Let's see what I wrote
Oh,
down.
cool.
Okay. I was just trying to write.
Dondoro, Dodorika, Doduka.
First I wrote Diddy Mao.
That's a real language.
And then I know, but that's what I thought. I was when I was trying to work it out as a real language tool. That's I was like, is that what she said? And
Mm.
dumb and dumb, dumb and don, didinka.
Mm.
Dumb and don, didinka.
That's what I have in my notes too.
Okay, I mean, it's kind of hard to read. I use that village font, so for my notes.
I mean, since they've already made up a language for previous episode, I just was thinking that this is made up too, right? We're
It's like
supposed to not
it's
know.
like Klingon, where there's a complete language, for the
And the
show.
funny thing is, it was England anyway. Like it was just sort of this weird red herring where it's like, oh, you thought you were in Poland, did you?
It's probably Welsh. That's what
Yeah,
Welsh
not
sounds
enough
like.
hissing.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was like a little enclave of workers from North something.
Poland.
I was about to say North Macedonia, but that's a real place, so it seemed offensive.
Yeah, but North Macedonia is a real place, but not North Macedonia.
No, I believe North Macedonia is actually the name now because
Oh,
Greece has Macedonia. So when the country called itself Macedonia, like, hey, you're assuming that our province is part of Greece. So the part of the compromise was they called themselves North Macedonia.
well, son of a bitch. They have a pretty cool flag.
Yeah.
Anyway,
There's some pointless geography for you. Unless you're
pointless
in Greece.
geography. They call it the podcast. Anyway,
If you're
the
Greek or
geography here
Macedonian, it's
is
important.
the only geography here is leaving the village and going back to it. Um, I guess we were. I don't know about you, but the entire time my brain was exploding, like wondering how they were going to get him back in the village, knowing that they were going to get him back in the village.
Was ejector seat like on your list?
Nope.
Okay, so that
Nope.
was not.
I thought it was all gonna be fake or something like that.
Be
Like it was
hard to
gonna be like, all
fake
right,
that
then.
much. I mean, they drove around that.
Well,
There's that one a few weeks ago where they drove around in circles in a van for a while, but he couldn't see out of the van. So
I suppose it was just a thing where they have already made him believe that he's escaped more than once, so
he
they
did
couldn't
escape.
really
He
do
didn't
that.
see. Okay, that
Yeah, he
people
did. I'm saying I thought that he was imagining it or something like that.
people complain that the Daniel Craig Bond movies is always like, Bond is like blacklisted and out of the and Mission Impossible as well. But I mean, that's what you do if you've been railroaded this hard. You take yourself out of the system a little bit, which number six puts himself right back in. Which isn't. I don't know. Is that the smartest move?
Apparently not. This
Well,
is kind of the second week in a row where he's done a not very smart move.
yeah. I guess they're starting to break him down. Then is that it? Because he was slicker
I
in
don't
the
know.
earlier episodes.
We'll
Maybe
see.
he's a little more desperate now.
I mean, I'm going to say he definitely seemed pretty traumatized when he was sort of looking around trying to figure out how to escape. Like
Yeah.
he didn't look like a super happy guy who just won his freedom. He looked like just kind of,
Oh yeah, he ends up looking quite disheveled in this episode, which is pretty fun.
but also it was production order number 13, so
Well, I mean, he's
they'd been
supposed
doing it
to
a while.
he's supposed to be scribble headed and unshaven, right? So he actually looks vagrant esque.
Yep. Uh,
So
so
we're
we'll meet Car 160C in this.
well, it's
We
in
get up
every
close and
episode.
personal with it. 120C, I'm sorry.
We get to drive it around for a bit now. That's nice.
It's been overheating in traffic though.
Will you take it out on the open country roads, which is what he should have done. Oh,
It'd be funny if he just like tried to escape and then it overheated and then they put him back in the village.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure the car had like a tracker or something in it.
Or a bomb.
Right? Because he'd already met Mrs. Buttersworth and had some sandwiches by that point. So, I mean, she gives him the car, right?
Yeah. No. Never trust someone who took your house.
So, where is the village?
It was northwest of Morocco and southwest of Portugal and Spain.
Right, right. I was just
North Yeah, northwest.
that's so it's Atlantis.
Is that where Atlantis is?
Well, it's one of the things that is out past the Straits of Gibraltar.
Do you think mermaids are going to show up before the end of the series?
Is it the Azores or what are there's some islands out there that
D-
are some
Oh,
one of the
dude, King
contenders
Triton is number 1
of what? What? Just
from The
type in.
Little Mermaid. He runs the village, King Triton
Oh, right.
of
Okay.
Atlantis.
Well, he lives underwater though.
Yeah, he's right there.
The village isn't underwater.
The rovers are all like his used condoms.
Okay. So that- it's a fish egg? It goes over a
Yes.
fish egg? I mean, that's the only explanation, really.
Or used condoms.
Yeah.
Full
Anyway,
full of energy.
that's what I well, yeah, my note is that spot on the map was probably Atlantis. There's another I think there's a Babini Road, right? That's
Ba- Babini? I missed
Bimini
that.
Road. It's
Bimini?
Bimini Road's off the coast of Bermuda, Bahamas, something. Come on, pretty mama. I don't know, something like that. But
Oh,
it's
Bikini
underwater.
Bahama, come on, pretty mama.
Yeah, and it looks like a road underwater.
So
So
so Mike Love is number 1.
Mike Love is yeah, Mike Love's always number one.
He is telling himself that in the mirror right now and punching the mirror.
Come on, feel the love. Is he
You're number
disheveled?
1. Yes, you're number 1.
And
No one ever did anything. You're all the Beach Boys. There's only one Beach Boy, and it's you. Beach Boy, Beach Boy, Beach punches mirror, punches mirror.
that's why the
Yeah,
beach at the village is so large.
exactly. It's just for one boy, a special boy, Mike Love.
Rover is just one of his hats because his hats keep getting bigger. Yeah.
Exactly. Rover is what Kokomo is about, really.
Okay, it's good to work this stuff out. It's kind of like how The Shining was Stanley Kubrick admitting he'd faked the moon landing. So Kokomo is Mike Love admitting that he was the actual creator and driving force of the prisoner.
I think both of those works are just admissions that they did too much cocaine.
Yeah, maybe. It could be that too. It's Occam's razor. You choose the simpler one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Stanley Kubrick was admitting that Stephen King did too much cocaine.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't get the idea that I think Kubrick is more of just a chain smoker, but his wife wouldn't let him smoke, so he'd have to borrow cigarettes from everybody, and then his
I,
wife would have to apologize to his crew for all the cigarettes he was bumming off of them because she
I'm
knew.
quite sure that he has punched a few mirrors while yelling something into them
What
before.
Kubrick?
Yeah.
Apparently, he was relatively, I mean, chill-ish, not with Shelley Duvall, but
Yeah.
he wasn't like screaming at people. He was like, get it done. Have you heard him talk much?
Actually, I haven't.
What does Stanley Kubrick's voice sound like?
I just figure he would sound like this. Hello. Was it like higher?
He's from the Bronx. He talks like a dude from the Bronx.
Well, he's like, hey, well, I says to Shelley Duvall, come here, I'm gonna shoot you in the face if you don't scream. Ah, it's like
Not
that.
not not quite just got out of Sing Sing sounding, but yeah, that general vibe. That's closer than the cultured voice you were thinking of. So
So as I'm chasing this broad in this movie set, and she's screaming, and I'm just like, ah, I want it
you're
to be
get
like that.
you're getting a little more mafia there, I think.
I
But
can't help it. It's like
I
every accent turns into that, right?
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I just saw Eyes Wide Shut for the first time like 2 months ago.
Oh yeah, how did you dig it?
It was okay.
Okay.
I
Um,
didn't. It was much smaller than I expected it to be. If that makes sense.
yeah, well, it's insular, right?
Yeah, and also I wasn't a huge fan of the way the score just went, dun 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 dun
Mm.
dun dun dun. It's like, but on a piano, so it's not like the Jaws soundtrack.
Well, it's like Jaws on Quaaludes. So
Kind of, but
was
like
was
not as interesting.
was there no music in the first half of this episode? Was there just like nothing except like clunking sound effects?
There was a lot of silence.
Yeah,
And there
yeah.
was there was some of the like that one musical cue that's just like like that dissonant guitar.
Right, but there
There's
is,
some
I
of
mean,
that.
it's pretty silent every way. So I've only seen 28 Days Later once, but that at least popped in my mind. I mean, fewer zombies in this one, but more sandwiches. But yeah.
I fell asleep in that
Oh,
movie.
oh, okay. I was worried you'd
I
fall
fell. I
asleep
mean, I
in this
watched it at
episode.
someone's house,
I was
but
worried
I fell asleep like 10 minutes in.
I
So I
was
don't
worried
know.
you'd fall asleep in this episode, and then you show up for the podcast anyway. Yeah, yeah. He was walking around the village, and hey, what do you know?
I'm gonna say this was better than 28 Days Later, but I'm a little biased.
Okay, and it's been a while since I watched it. I mean, I obviously we like this because we're watching the whole thing, but
Yeah, what's it? Yeah, it's like I have stakes. If there's a zombie anything, I'm like, when are they gonna die? That's like the only question. This is at least has more interesting questions than that. Even if
uh,
it's just as certain that he's gonna end up back in the village as it is that people in a zombie movie are gonna die.
Tinta Man is strong.
Tinta Man?
Is strong. What does that mean?
What was
It
that from?
when at the airport when he was about to go off in the jet, there was like this cart and it said on the top like Pinta Man is strong, and I was like, what does it? It was very
Missed
bizarre.
that.
Okay, it was like a red card or something, yeah, I thought that was going to have something to do with him going back to the village, like they were going to knock him out, putting him in the cart or something. But you know,
I am Tinta Man, the new number two. You messed up, kid. You're back. Don't try to escape again. I'm strong. Uh,
maybe
well,
well, you start looking because especially in the village, like every production detail is so thought out in this show, so you pay attention to stuff. Well, I paid attention to that.
mm, uh, so he didn't do a great job with the boat jackers, even though he did kind of mess them up, but I was kind of expecting him to kill them, and he just sort of like barely subdued them and then swam off.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I did write "Sleep, Gunter, sleep." That was fun. They call him Gunter, did they? It
The-
did make, I hate to keep bringing out the Bond comparisons, but it did make me think of the From Russia with Love train fighting a little bit, where it's just like no soundtrack and violent,
yeah,
lots of
it was a
punching.
little, yeah, it was definitely it went from like strangling to punching, which is like always fun. It was those guys were German, right? I
I
don't think they made that language up.
that's why I wrote "Sleep, Gunter, sleep." I think, but and this
Uh,
did have music. They did start doing some music at that point where they kind of have this Mission Impossible ripoff. Although I guess in 1967 you can still get away with ripping off Mission Impossible without raising too many eyebrows. What year did Mission Impossible start? 66.
no idea. I've
Okay.
actually never seen the series. I've only watched the movies, and
Okay.
only two of those.
Well, the theme fits. Oh, you should watch those. Those are good movies. I'd
I've seen one and wait, no, three, one, four, and six, I think. And
Five's
I
the best, so you missed that. And then
didn't really like four.
two is so insane. It's worth watching.
I should watch two because it is John Woo.
Yeah, and it's pretty nutso. Like, yeah, it's the peak of Tom Cruise, like trying to convince everyone he was cool and kind of managing still.
Well, the interesting thing about the most recent one was just that he never looked old except for sometimes when he looked really confused.
Yeah, I guess Maverick kind of walked that line a little better.
I did not. I had Paramount Plus for like 2 months and just forgot to watch it, and I forgot to watch the movies. So I'll see it someday.
You have to.
Um, the TV series started in '66, so this was like
Okay, so
concurrent.
well, I was just they were just ripping off something relatively new. They're like people will remember their prisoner, they forget about Mission Impossible.
Well, I
Oh,
mean, maybe Danger Man was like this. Who knows?
that's true. The best Mission Impossible ripoff theme though is from the 10-minute Tom Cruise Scientology video. Have you seen this before?
I'm pretty sure I have.
It's got just a like kind of like almost Mission Impossible in the background. Keeps having Tom talking about how you just know and you can get out and help people and you can really, and then it cuts. Like he just keeps saying things and never making a complete thought. It's great. But he's
Yeah, the
really intense about all of it.
Scientologists. What was the thing where the voice of Bart Simpson was like calling people as Bart Simpson asking for money and gotten like a tremendous amount of trouble about it?
Oh, I didn't hear about that. Okay.
That was, I mean, that was a very long time ago now, probably as long ago as that Tom Cruise video. But
Right. Anyway, yeah, just I noticed fake theme. I guess because there had been no music for quite a while up to that point too. So
yeah, uh, at that time I was like, what's gonna happen? Pretty hardcore. And I guess I was kind of bummed that he didn't have his house anymore, his car. Like, how are you gonna break out of prison and you don't have your house, your car anymore?
he got a sandwich out of the deal,
Yeah, and some nice clothes and like a hairstyle.
and he got the car.
He
He
borrowed it,
did
but he has to give
well.
it back.
Oh yeah. Well, he can. At least he gets to take for a spin. All of that. So
What if the rest of the what if right after this episode she just takes him to a torture chamber and is like, why didn't you bring me back my car?
maybe that's the next episode. I don't know. Although I don't think she shows up again, does she?
No.
It's
She
just
shows up in Run for Your Wife. No, your money or your wife. I'm sorry.
oh, okay. Yeah, you got to get those
Withdrawn.
those straight. That's right.
We regret the error.
We regret the
Er,
er
we regret the car.
dumb and dumb and non ding ding ga.
We regret the dun 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 ding ding. Uh, yeah, the lighthouse never really like factored anything. There are a few red herrings here. It makes me kind of wonder if it was just like they were just kind of winging it.
Actually, for 1966, yeah, television heroes don't end up looking this screwed up. Halfway through their adventure.
No, I guess not. The thing this kind of reminds me of is there was a specific Lost in Space episode where it was like one of the worst dated, one of the worst dated episodes of anything I've ever seen, where it's just like one of the characters that Billy Mummy gets like transported back to Earth magically, and it's like, but nobody believes that he's the same Will Robinson who's in space. But it's basically like he's in some like penny candy store, and the guy's like, "Well, you get out of here, you stupid kid!" And it's like the series supposed to take place in like 1997 or something like that. It's just like, no, this life is not like this at all in the future. Sorry.
Right. Well, that's one of the aces in the hole for the prisoner, that you get like this themed experience, right, of the village. Um,
Yeah. Well, it's like even the stuff they did in actual London wasn't dated badly. They weren't like I mean, it's a minimalist show. The cast is always like six people. It's probably the largest cast of any episode we've seen so far. It has like eight people.
mm. No, sorry, that isn't the point I was actually trying to make. I was actually getting to the point of have you been in like empty theme parks?
Have sort of. I mean, I've been to Six Flags on days where it was like private special days where not as many people could go, I guess, if that counts. Not like
No,
completely empty.
back in the days when I'd hit the
Hmm.
parks on the regs in Japan, I'd always target like a Thursday in February, knowing that wouldn't be that busy. And a few times, like at night, I remember like being at Disneyland, being there's nobody here. This is a little bit creepy.
I mean,
Especially
for Disney, that sounds creepy.
Disney
Uh,
Sea as well. Like we were getting fast passes, and then we were getting fast passes about 10:30 in the morning. I was like, why are we getting fast passes? There's like literally nobody here. We rode Indiana Jones and was like, hey, was the skull blue or red? I don't know. Let's ride it again because there was no line.
people might show up later. Who knows?
Right, right. Oh no, no, it was empty all day. But yeah, I just when he
Oh.
was going through his empty village, that came to mind as the experience I've had. That would be the closest. Of course, mine was not. The utilities were still on and the rides were running, so that helped
I mean, dead malls. You probably didn't get a whole lot of dead mall experience before you left the States, right?
a little bit. I've watched some videos, but yeah.
If I'll tell you, Gwinnett Mall, right at the beginning of the pandemic, it was like one of the first things I actually did after or right before it sort of quote unquote lockdown happened. It was like very extremely dead. I think it was soon after that they just didn't let people walk through it at all. But that was not long after someone died, or I guess was murdered allegedly
Well, they still died then.
at the subway in the food court. There was just a body there for like 2 weeks and nobody found it.
Oh,
Like
okay.
that's how dead the mall was.
Mm-mm.
It was just like
Um,
behind a counter.
yeah, we went to a mall yesterday that would seem deadish, but that's because it's in the middle of renovations. So I was like, "Hey, you want to go to the bookstore? You want to go to the bookstore? Yeah. Well, you can't.
Well, it's like, did you ever go to North DeKalb Mall when they were renovating it in like the 80s?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a scaffolding. North Lake did that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's
that's
not a dead mall. That's
crazy.
a renovating mall.
But that
Um,
was still like creepier than most things because it was like felt like you shouldn't be in there.
I mean, Japan has like basically empty villages you can find here and there. They're actually rotting though because no one actually lives there. Like there's like two elderly people living in a village that had like 500 people like 30 years ago.
Did you show me like a train station that nobody uses, or did I just see that on YouTube? I feel like you might have shown me a train station that nobody uses
Uh,
at one point when we were out in your town.
Possibly. I mean, there are a few train lines that no longer exist. Uh, like
Let's
spurs.
imagine that.
Yeah. So yeah, I find the empty village experience interesting. So it's fascinating. I mean, I think that's part of the charm of this episode.
Yeah, that's what made it super heavy in the beginning, and you're kind of like, what's it feels like it really belongs in the middle of the series. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it
Because it
is good for
feels
it.
like yeah, it feels almost like it could be the end. You could look at it a little like the intermission, I guess.
Well, it was the end for the producer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, that works."
uh,
dude
The
out. Sorry, I forgot his name.
co-creator,
Yeah.
co-creator George Markstein.
Right, right.
Well, you know, at least he got to be at the front desk.
Yes. Always at the front desk, am I?
Yeah, he just quit because of that. It's like, I'll show you who's at the front desk. Nobody.
You were talking about the plan being convoluted. So what is the mind game here exactly? Like you said, they never even ask him why he resigned.
I mean, it's just to make him feel bad,
Mm.
right?
I thought it was maybe like a field trip. Like this is how they do field trips in the village. Like
It's like if you feel you would think this is uh this is a thing to make you realize that you'll never escape from here.
mm,
But like you were saying, it wasn't like he inevitably was going to be on an airplane. You know, he could probably do the same thing again and not be on an airplane. And
he
also
did
now he knows where he is.
see the airplane you can set up, right? That's their plane, their man, their pilot. The one that I'm thinking about more is he was on a raft for 25 days. That could go bad.
Yeah, that could have absolutely killed him. So it's just what's going on here? Maybe they were watching him the whole time.
He fell in, they scoop him out. I don't know. Like I don't know if there was a safety on that or not. But even if he say fell off the
He
the
did.
raft.
He did fall off the raft.
Yes,
He was
yes, he
pushed off
did.
the raft.
Right, right. So yeah, they didn't save him then. So
They were just
yeah,
watching and they're like, "Yeah, he's fine."
yeah. He's the star of the series. He's not gonna die.
Yeah, that's what they were thinking. They're like, "Yeah, he's a star. He's not gonna die. It's fine."
Maybe that's what the producer is doing here. The co-creator is like, no, no, he dies now. This is the end. This is my end.
You know, it's really unfortunate that nobody should look at the IMDb about this episode because it actually did have a spoiler about the end of the series that I accidentally looked at.
Oh, oops.
So now I think I know what bothered
Oh, no,
Markstein.
I've known the entire time, man.
I know you know.
But yeah, it did they properly ratchet up the intensity for this one, I guess. Because that's I keep mentioning order. I feel like at least I mean I haven't heard anyone say that, but I just have the impression that each of these mind games should be more intense than the last one. This one doesn't have any drugs or anything though.
Well, the intensity is it's sort of like when in later Twilight Zone episodes it kind of you start asking yourself what's the twist and it sometimes specifically caters to people. It's like you want to see a twist? There's no twist. Yeah, it's like you're wondering the whole time what's going on. Like it works really well as a that's why it works really well as a ninth episode because at this point I'm like, what's happening? What's happening? What's gonna happen?
See,
And
I'm
he's
just
not.
at yeah. See, I'm just at the point where I'm like, did he have an out here, and he just didn't do it right, you know?
Yeah, he
Like,
did.
or was
Unless they were just gonna kill him if he did that, or abduct him,
well, I'm just
which
I
is
mean,
most likely.
by hook or by crook, he was eventually going to end up back at the village, no matter how much ball he played.
I guess so.
Anyway, yeah, that's. I mean, they don't answer that, right? That's the food to stew on. And I'm not saying it's a plot hole. I'm just like saying that's actually something to think about, right? That's interesting.
It is interesting because, like, could this have been the last episode? I
Mm,
guess we'll know when we see what happens in the last episode because I didn't get that kind of a spoiler, but we will, we will
right.
see.
There is an episode after this for sure. I know that. Um, I should see what that is. Did you
Eight.
have anything else you wanted to throw out on this one?
Uh, not really. It was fun. It was a fun field trip
It's your
diversion.
funeral.
It's someone else's funeral.
It's your funeral.
My funeral?
Yep. That's
Well,
next. It's your funeral.
oh, okay. Well, don't burn me alive. Wait till I'm
Okay.
dead.
Okay. I don't
I
know
guess that
who's
wouldn't be a funeral then, would it?
then it'd be a murder.
Is it if you like have a funeral and kill someone at the funeral, does it stop? Does it turn from a murder into a funeral?
We'll talk about that in the next episode because it's your funeral.
Okay, that sounds like a good teaser for the next week when we'll definitely remember to say that.
Right. We will. That's the name of the episode.
It's your funeral.
Yeah.
Okay, well you can find us at the Prisoner Pod on Twitter and Facebook.
You forgot the name Twitter, did you?
I forgot whether existed still or not. That's not even that joke's gonna age terribly, isn't it?
Do people work at Twitter now? I don't even know that.
Less and less all the time.
Okay. It hadn't broken yet, I guess, as of the end of January. But hey, who knows what February will bring? Although you're
Well,
hearing this in probably March or
you're
something, so it's extra confusing.
yeah. So I'm gonna say, hey, I sure hope that that joke aged well, and you can find us at something or other. Maybe we'll put it on Mastodon too, just in case.
Worst plug ever.
That's the next episode. Is worst plug ever.
um, yeah, yeah. And then I should probably mention episodes are early of this and other podcasts like the Sci-Fi Sanctuary and the Twilight Zone when we mentioned at Podcastius on Patreon.
Also, Luke loves Pokemon for your Pokemon needs, and Game Show for your game show about game needs, and Occult Disney for your occult Disney needs. And what else do the people need?
Monster Mash for your mashing needs.
Yes, Monster Mash if you need to mash some monsters.
Um, smash or
All
pass
right.
this monster.
Exactly. I don't even know. You're probably actually referencing something that happened on that podcast.
I thought I just cut it there.
Okay, sure. I was like trying to think of how to follow that up, and like,
No, that's not from the podcast. That's Maddie, who I'm sure you've heard about mentioned in other podcasts.
yeah,
Um, at work, he'll sometimes just hold up his phone because his Instagram feed is all boxers and Korean female bodybuilders.
okay.
So
And
he'll
he'll be like
always,
smash or pass.
yeah, with all the Korean female bodybuilders.
It was like that podcaster I mentioned who had a podcast where they talked for 30 minutes, had a live show thing where they actually did like, I think it was like Smash Brothers characters, Smash or Pass at a live show or something like that. Like,
Okay.
there's a pretty good amount of crossover of their material and like our friends over the game
Yeah.
show. It's
Yeah.
taken a really long time to get through all those, but
They keep cranking them out.
yeah, I heard so many podcasts. Anyway,
I was listening to one yesterday about Ernest Goes to Splash Mountain. Do you even know that
Ernest
exists?
Goes to Splash Mountain.
It's a 22-minute 1989 TV special or something about Ernest P. Worrell being the first man to
Oh shit! Yeah,
ride
you're right.
Splash Mountain.
Actually, yeah, I did actually hear about that and watch some of it
Yeah,
because
it's pretty amusing.
that's so weird. Yeah, so I guess they just closed Splash Mountain and now people are like selling the water from it.
Yeah, because they're gonna make it I think Princess and the
Princess
Frog
and the
themed.
Frog.
Because
I
they're
thought
like,
about just, man, should I just get on the internet and just like sell like fake Splash Mountain water because people deserve it?
yeah, why not start your con artist career?
I mean, if there's anybody who deserves to be conned, it's like specifically anyone who wants
Right.
like right. There's
Well,
no there's no
the
it's
the
dumb
next
and bad.
the next episode of the Sci-Fi Sanctuary is the Meg, where Luke talks about the extended Instagram conversation he had with a con artist about who was trying to sell mastodon teeth.
Oh, interesting. I haven't actually watched the Meg. I guess maybe I'll use this as an excuse to watch it.
Mm-mm. It's got a giant shark.
I mean, is it like specifically good or is it just like dumb and fun
It
or dumb
it's
and bad?
it stars Jason Statham.
Sure. Does he punch it? Does
Yes.
he punch the shark? Okay, cool. I'm in.
Actually, I don't know if he actually punches the shark. He definitely kicks the shark. He gets up close with the shark for sure.
Like I saw what was the alligator one, Crawl? I wasn't crazy about that.
Mm.
There's this like there's this weird thing that happens. I feel like maybe I've noticed it as I get older, but like Valerian really had it where like French directors slash writers, French writers don't understand that like Americans don't fight as much as French people do. So it's like Valerian was like I don't see anybody talking about this, but like Valerian was the weird thing about it was people were like, "Oh, this couple has no chemistry." I'm like, "No, they had French chemistry. They were fucking yelling at each other the entire time." But you believe that they like each other, but they just would not shut the fuck up while they're like doing a bunch of life or death shit, which
Yeah,
is
I think
not.
I think I saw like the first 20 minutes of that and then just never got back to it because you're 20
Yeah.
minutes and it's like everything happened and nothing happened.
So you guys haven't done that for Sci-Fi Sanctuary?
Correct.
This actually is a pretty good film. It's just like
We'll probably
that
get to it
thing
at
that I
some point.
said. I
Yeah.
think it's I honestly think it's like pretty. I mean, I think it's as good as Avatar or John Carter. Like it's sits up there with those whatever the fuck that genre is. Big giant epic shit.
It's a
Big
big
giant
giant
epic
epic
shit.
shit.
No, it's like high fantasy to the point where the entire goddamn world is imagined. It's not like Fifth Element where it's on Earth at least, but
Mm,
Valerian is just like they made everything up. I mean,
right.
and it's cool. I thought it was pretty good, but there's the whole thing where people just yell at each other the whole time, and Dane Don has like no real acting chops to speak of.
Who?
Guy from Chronicle.
Oh, okay. I never watched Chronicle.
Chronicle's really good. You guys should do that.
Mm-mm-mm.
And it's like you'd have a lot to talk about with how the director went on to make the Fantastic Four movie that was like considered one of the worst superhero movies ever made.
I do remember that. Yeah. I
And
see. I'm more curious to watch
actually,
Fantastic Four movie.
actually, everyone, I mean, the Chronicle is definitely better, but it's like the fact that everyone who made Chronicle is basically canceled because like Josh Trank was just, I think, just a shitty like person to work with, but then Max Landis wrote it, who's like did a bunch of bad shit that I don't even remember entirely what he did. Harassment type stuff, I think.
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah.
So
Um.
maybe you shouldn't do it, but
Right.
it was a good film.
Yeah. See, I know the 2000s Fantastic Four movies, for me at least, simply committed the sin of being really boring.
I fell asleep in the first one and I didn't watch the second really.
I think that's pretty much my trajectory as well. Oh no, when I lived in that apartment near Perimeter Mall, I remember I got the second one because they had some like movie like DVDs you could grab, and I got bored, and then I think I fell asleep in that one as well. So
I saw like part of that one that while it was on TV somewhere incidentally, and I remember feeling like it was a weird lack of tension considering like the Earth was gonna die or whatever. It was just like kind of hanging out being quippy, and I was like, this isn't good.
yeah, so
Not
yeah,
that I the main issue with the first one was that they made Doctor Doom like a shitty nerd, which is like unforgivable.
see now I'm like sitting here like if when the MCU cranks out there because they're making Fantastic Four now, aren't they?
Allegedly, I mean they might. I don't know. I think they've restarted it a few times. They might have like a new director now, but like they had the guy who did the recent Spider-Man movies on it, and then he left.
I
So
guess
that kind of sucks.
I guess that maybe that's another part of the MCU. It's like they cashed all the major superheroes, so it's like it just feels like you're playing with scraps now.
Like Blade had to restart, even though that's going to be a PG-13 movie. So nah.
Nah.
You have a ton of people who aren't going to want to see that at all.
It's just
Like that's going to be interesting to see if people like come out for that because anybody our age is going to be like fuck you. Blade should say fuck. I can't have if Blade doesn't say fuck, I'm not going to go see this stupid movie.
no, just go to the theater and just keep screaming that at the screen.
Yeah. That's what if I was just like, say the line, say some motherfuckers always have to ice skate uphill. Say it.
Till they kick you out of the theater. Do that, yeah.
I mean, I don't want to
Yeah.
say I've seen people be more annoying in movies, but I've seen things
I
I've
haven't.
seen things.
I've been Japanese audiences. They're overly polite, right? So
Yeah, that's probably really nice.
K-Share is a movie where you went. I always refer to Jason Goes to Hell with the Insane audience as being a highlight experience of film going.
Mm. I'm trying to like look at what I think everything on Wikipedia about that MCU movie has just been pulled and it's just gone to like a blurb that's like talking about what they want to do, but it says 2025, so that's pretty fucking far away. 2 years.
What does that even mean?
2025, man. Phase 6. Phase 6. You ready for phase fucking 6? You gonna be excited for phase fucking 6 of this shit?
What phase are they in now?
I don't know.
Okay, they're in some phase, I guess.
It's not 3. It might be 4.
Mm,
I
I don't
guess
know.
it's probably 5, right? If 6 is 2 years off, it has to be 5 by now, right?
I don't know.
God, who
They,
gives a shit?
I think
I
don't they
wish
have?
I wish they just made like so many fewer, so less. How do you say that? I wish they just made so fewer movies that I would care. You know, it's just like they really just made too many.
I
I
wish they
can't
go.
do it.
Whoa, Nelly, on that horsey.
I can't do it. I can't like just did I tell you about how like when the first Iron Man came out, I lived in that like loft and people were just watching it like for a week, so I just ended up seeing it a bunch of times and then never wanted to see it ever again.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember.
yeah, I still haven't watched it since then.
I wouldn't, or if you, I wouldn't let my wife go there because she'd try to clean it, and that wasn't happening.
She tried to clean the disc.
No, she'd try to clean that loft. And
Oh,
that would have been
oh yeah, that's
impossible.
right. That's right.
I was like, no, you can't come
Yeah,
over.
that should have been
You can't come
burned.
with me. It
Should have
probably is
been
now.
burned.
Did you
I don't think it probably just costs like $20,000 a month to live there now.
did you see the Punk House coffee table book?
No.
That's fun. It's just a bunch of pictures of punk houses, right? I want to
Yeah.
say that something to do with Thurston Moore. I don't know if he's considered to be the author or something. Yeah,
This is 2007. Is it that old? This is
that's
Thurston Moore,
okay.
edited
That's
by
it.
Thurston Moore.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. That's it.
Well,
I just remember
yeah,
that
I
being
feel like so far removed from that type of shit now that it's like, well, because I mean, there was more stuff after that for other people, not for me. I basically moved in with a tidy lesbian after that.
yeah, gave an up on the funny smelling communal living.
I mean, dude, 3 litters of cats were born there. I mean,
Uh,
one cat just was eating its kittens, and then one dude who lived upstairs just came down with like a dead kitten and was like going like "Yeah," like a puppet, and I was just like, stop it. I was just pretending not to be completely mortified by it, but I was like, it's like burned into my brain the like that kitten head that the guy was just manipulating. Ugh.
yeah, yeah. I guess it's a good time to move out.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably not a great idea to move in there. I mean, it was just moving out of my mom's house after moving in with. It was just a string of bad decisions. Like living by myself was awesome, and I'd
Yeah,
done that before that, so I should have just stayed doing that.
yeah. I don't. I have trouble, I guess, going back to roommates after not having roommates.
You're like, are you still do? You're not doing like a thing where you're like have a separate place where you're living with your family full time now, right?
Right.
Okay, that's been the case for a while, right? I
Yeah,
I
since
can't
like
remember when that.
20 end of 2014.
Okay, that's a long time. All right. Okay. That's why I didn't remember because you hadn't talked about it for so long because it just had been the case for a long time.
Yeah, 2010 to 2014. No, I've been living here exclusively for 8 years, 9 years almost.
Cool.
So, mhm. got
Awesome.
got desk and everything. Huh?
Non-disc?
On desk. Filled up,
Non-disca?
yeah, filled up the room with instruments. It's fine, right? Yeah.
Cool.
I got my monologue if I need a synthesizer fix, because the big ones are at the other house. But
The family house.
right, because
Yeah.
I don't think I could fit a mini Moog in here.
Yeah, I'm
It's only
getting ready to liquidate a bunch of shit, and I'm gonna buy Behringer Edge because they are apparently coming out soon. Are you familiar with that?
I know Behringer makes. We've talked about it before, so
The
yeah.
drummer from Another Mother clone.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. That's cool. No, I
That's
think
one thing I've never had is percussion synthesizer, and that's what I really want
no,
because they're usually very expensive.
I think the next instrument I'll do is um I decided the Jaguar is weird in that it sounds good when you record it and stuff, but I don't actually. It's short scale, and I guess I don't actually like a short scale that much guitars.
Hmm.
Um,
Interesting.
so I want to go back to Jazz Master, but I pinpoint there's actually actually a Japanese made one called Hybrid 2, and you can get it where it was simplified controls and a maple fingerboard. That's another thing on Fenders. I think I don't like rosewood fretboards on Fenders.
I've always liked long fretboards for whatever it's worth. I like having more
Yeah, so the Jaguar's a little
length.
shorter. It's
Mm.
short scale, and I like the snappiness of a long scale, I guess.
I just
So
like not accidentally making my way up the fretboard and being stuck there.
I'm stuck.
Eh.
But I definitely love that style tremolo system that Jaguars and Jazz Masters have. Have you played on that kind of a tremolo before?
I mean, that's like what the white the metal whammy bar.
Right, but on a Strat style, it's the back of the body's routed and it's got the springs, right?
Yeah, I had one like that.
Right.
I
Whereas the Jagmaster, there actually is a Jagmaster. Those it's not going through to the back. It's floating up at the top.
hmm. Well, is it more stable that way? Because the
It's more stable and it's more warbly. Like you cannot dive bomb. Not that you and I want to dive bomb anyway, but like a Strat style one, you can dive bomb, right?
yeah,
That's why they have Floyd Roses, so they'll stay in tune when you do that. I kind of hate Floyd Roses, but I mean, if you're a dive bomber, you kind of need it, right? Um,
I mean, I always had a problem with my shit going out of tune because I would bang it too hard and fuck with it too hard.
right. This is the this is like the Bloody Valentine sort of warble where it doesn't dive bomb,
Hmm.
that sort of thing.
Hmm. Hmm. Well,
It's
I don't know. I
longer.
haven't played on with one of those in a very, very, very long time, so I don't know how I'd play with it.
Although my Strat, the only thing I don't like about the Strat is it doesn't have a whammy you can just plug in. You have to like it's got the screw, which it's and then
Hmm.
the last turner to it, like you have to like bop it over the knob, which is annoying. Once it's in, it works great, but it's just why didn't they make just a pop in?
Do you think Sweetwater is spying on what I'm saying? It just showed me an ad for a Guild S200 T-Bird electric guitar. Is that what we're
Mm,
talking about?
no, I'm talking
Okay.
about Fenders.
It looks pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, Guild. I do have a Guild acoustic. Well,
It's
Guild mostly
nine
makes acoustic guitars.
$900. It looks cool. It looks cool for an electric guitar.
Type in Jazzmaster Hybrid 2, like like Roman 2, red.
Do 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 do. Acoustasonic, is that what it is?
Oh no, 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 not at
No?
all.
Oh, Sweetwater don't have it. I guess I have to
No,
use
no,
Google.
just yeah, I was about to say, just do a Google search.
God damn it, what the fuck was it called again? This stupid fucking God damn it. Jazzmaster Hybrid 2 Red. Okay. Mm.
Guess I'll do the same search and see if it lets me play stuff.
Okay, now that looks wait, there's just a bunch of different shit here. Made in Japan.
Yes,
Then we got one on eBay here. Okay. Oh, I see. Interesting. I see what you're talking about with the whammy bar.
yeah, and most jazz masters have rosewood, like the dark fretboard, but this one has
Mm.
maple, and I much prefer maple. So,
Ah, I want like a metal one.
what do you
I
mean
want
one?
metal. I want everything to be black and metal.
Uh,
I don't know.
type
Or
type
iridescent.
type Jim Root Jazz Master.
Uh, Do 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 do. Oh, that looks pretty cool.
Doesn't have the tremolo though.
Ah,
But I was just like, oh, that's what you want, isn't it?
well,
It's
not for
black and metal.
$1,690. I don't.
Well, no, I wouldn't even want that one because it doesn't have a tremolo. But and those, I think those are like EMG pickups, or something, because it's like a metal guitar. Who is Jim Roos? Slipknot or something? I don't even know.
Ah, I
And
mean,
then that, and then
it's a
that,
jazz master, so he has to be a jazz player, right? That's what it
um,
is. That's how it works, right?
yeah, because all the jazz players
Oh
play
man,
jazz
oh my
masters.
God, he looks like a fucking Nazi.
Yeah, he's in Slipknot or something. So it's
Yeah,
not
he
like
is in Slipknot. God,
okay,
if
yeah,
I
I'm
saw
not.
this guy at a bar, I would like walk as far away from him as possible.
No, yeah, I know. I'm just saying this is the black
The
jazz
black
master.
one.
Yeah.
What I really want is some more iridescent shit. I wonder if there's an iridescent guitar. There probably is, and it probably sucks.
What do you mean by iridescent?
The thing where it has like sort of a reptile look, where it like you look at it from one angle, it looks purple, one angle it looks green.
Oh,
Oh, I
okay.
found an Ibanez. Probably sucks. And it's also glittery, but
Type in a
I don't hate the glitteriness.
type in a Bacchus Tactics guitar.
Sounds like something that you can fucking
Bacchus, like the god, right?
got it. Harley Benton. No, wait, there
Those
it is.
those are good cheap guitars, but that's no, it's
Huh.
Bacchus.
There's one that's sort of like a olive green. That actually looks kind of cool.
Yeah, that's why I mean I feel like they'd look different if you changed your yeah perspective.
I don't hate the olive green. It looks like a
Actually,
little yellowish.
if
There's
you
also a pink one.
you said you were in the market for a Telecaster type guitar, that actually would be a better
Mm,
choice than a Squire.
I mean, I'm kind of not, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
fun to look at things. I'm not in the market for anything except for the one of those percussion synthesizers
Yeah,
that will cost like $200 probably at the most.
but
250 maybe.
I would say Bacchus guitars are basically on an even keel with good Squires, except they're $200 cheaper because they don't have anything about Fender on them, right?
Ah, whoa, interesting.
What?
Found Harley Benton TB70 SBK Deluxe series. This is a bass that like it looks kind of almost like the features are stripped off of it because the pickups are so close. The pickups are so close in like color to the rest of the guitar to the bass that it looks almost like a void. It's
Mm.
kind of awesome. You know what I'm talking about?
Not that one specifically. I, d-
How do
I,
I
I
do this?
I
How do I
haven't.
make send you a thing? I'll just send you the link on Facebook. That's the easy way to
Okay.
do it.
Yeah, sure. What the
I
fuck
mean,
was I gonna say? Dun, 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 dun.
it's just fun to look at things sometimes. Like I'm not really I honestly just don't want a guitar to take I don't want to take up a guitar size amount of space.
What was I gonna say? Hartley Benton's. I haven't played one. I've heard mostly good things about them, but I have heard a couple of bad things as well.
Cheap as fuck.
Yeah, they're supposed to be one of the better cheap as fuck brands. Because Bacchus,
Yeah.
I think they're cheap as fuck in Japan, but I think they might be imported in America, which kind of takes the edge off.
I was reading somewhere about somebody was like I guess it probably wasn't synthesizers. That somebody was like I'm going to Japan and buying synthesizers because it's cheaper there or something.
Used
Sorry.
for
The
sure,
Google Doodle
used.
is interesting.
I mean, I told you I got my bases for like nothing.
I remember you telling me that you got things from American. What was it? You were getting things from American websites using Japanese currency, and that was making it cheaper or something. I don't know.
Other way, American currency on
Oh,
Japanese websites.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, God, maybe I'll just buy something and have it sent to you, and you can hang on to it for 3 years or something.
I think the yen has recovered a little bit, so I don't think it's quite as powerful as it was a few months ago.
Ah, ain't nothing lasts forever.
Right. Well, that's why I was buying stuff last year because I was
Yeah,
like,
might as
it'll
well.
eventually get fixed. What is it now?
I mean, I bought well, what is it? Thoman? Are you familiar with their website? Like they have stuff, certain things they have cheaper than anywhere else in
I've seen
like
the site
any
before. Yeah,
American websites, and like if you buy Ableton Live, if you were gonna pay for the software, which I almost did, but I decided not to, which I'm glad I didn't because I was just doing really well at work. I'm like, yeah, we'll just pay for software for once. But it
here it
was
is.
like
Oh,
$300 on that, whereas like 690 in America is like ridiculously different.
it's still pretty good. $1 is currently 130 yen, but in October it was like 150 yen.
Hmm.
So like everything was like an instant like third off.
God damn.
Now it's more
Maybe I
like
should
now it's like everything's like 25% off.
should really try and visit there sooner than the before
Yeah,
our currency collapses. I
yeah,
guess it's
actually
like, is it even legal to go there yet? Is it
you
okay to
you
do that yet?
yeah, I think they want yeah, you'd have no problem.
Yeah, I just
They
have to.
they opened in October.
Okay. Yeah, I have to get at least one more like good paying job before I do something like that. But
Right,
maybe,
right.
yeah, maybe soonish. I don't know.
I don't know how long that currency is going to be because when
Yeah.
I first came to Japan it was like 108 yen to the dollar, and like I said in October it's like 150. So
I
bad for
mean,
the yen, but yeah,
none of it really matters if it's something like the plane ticket costs twice as much. That just eats up
true.
all your advantage.
But yeah,
But
I've been seeing foreigners around Nagano Station again, and when I visited
hmm.
Scott in October, it was like right after they started letting foreigners in Shibuya. It was like the most crowd I'd ever seen Shibuya.
Yeah, well, it's welcome to America. That's how the shit is here. Everybody's like, "Whoa!" It's just like spitting in each other's mouths.
Yeah, if I had to go through Shibuya every day, I'm sure I'd be grumpy. But since I'm never around people that much, that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. Like, I never had to think about social distancing because I pretty much never got that close to people in the first place.
Yeah, it's just like I was saying, we have totally different perspectives. Like I was hanging out with family that I hadn't really seen. I hadn't seen a large part of my family a whole lot since the pandemic started. Like we skipped a couple of years, and I had like a talk with them where they were definitely sort of like, "Yeah, well, we're not vaccinated. We don't give a shit if we get it or not." It's like it was like that. I'm like, "Well, cool. See you guys next year."
Yeah.
It's just like,
See,
well,
I probably mask more than most Americans do, but I just bitch about it. That's
yeah.
all. I probably wear
Well,
masks more than you
it
do, but I just bitchy
it
about it.
it probably feels, yeah, it probably feels a lot more oppressive because
Yeah.
like nothing, like I'm wearing a mask and people are staring at me like when you deal enough of that where you're just like, even like the 2020 where it's like masking people were just like fucking staring at me, like you deal with enough of that, you start to really resent like all of the Americans
Oh
at
yeah,
some point.
you'll only get stared at here if you're not wearing one. So
Yeah, I bet you probably get stared at if you were wearing like not wearing it right or something, like whereas here you see people wearing them just like constantly, see them people wearing them like below their nose and shit like that, like all the time.
there's one Japanese guy at our company who's been doing that for 3 years now. I've like never seen him put his, and he's the guy that was like taking everyone's like temperatures and stuff too. He was like supposed to be the guy
Mm,
checking for COVID stuff, and
yeah.
I've never once seen him with the mask over his nose.
Yeah, it's just sort of a thing where I think all of us have had to stare at each other too much and we're uh just all fucking burnt out on it.
Because
Like I
Japan is currently saying, okay, May 8th, we're gonna knock it down to like regular disease category, right? So technically, at
yeah.
that point, but it'll be a year or more before Japanese people even stop wearing them because they've already been told they don't need to outside, but they it's still pretty rare to see people not doing that. So
Yeah, I gotta admit I would really miss the whole thing where you can drink a beer on the street, but I can
you can
do
drink a
it.
beer on the street.
But like with you can't wear a mask while you're drinking a beer on the
Well, you don't.
street.
Well,
Can
there's
you
lots of
just
streets that aren't that
lift it up
crowded.
a little bit? Yeah, there's that.
You're on a street with nobody, so you can do that. I'm talking about like
Yeah,
crowded.
you're actually a smaller place.
Yeah. Yeah, Tokyo, you couldn't really get away with that, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm walking through rice fields. You can do it in a
Hell
rice
yeah.
field.
They're pretty
uh,
cool.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna go walk in the rice field before I need to. I have to make my hospital checkup this afternoon. I mean, just a
Oh yeah.
standard 2 month check-in. So,
Hope that goes well. I'm gonna probably go to sleep soon because I have a dentist appointment at 7 a.m. like a dumbass because
uh,
I
the only part that's gonna really I'm trepidatious about is when I have to get on the scale. So,
well, good luck. I keep
okay.
looking for Chew High here, and there still isn't any. But
Oh, really? Okay.
I feel
Let's
like it's
do that.
getting close. I'm seeing stuff that's more
Getting
similar to
close.
that.
Mm.
Sparkling sake a lot. Yeah, maybe. But
Okay,
anyways,
later's
all
then.
right. See ya. We'll
Ending
do
meeting.
Martian soon, I guess.
Pretty soon. Again, it's still almost a month, but yeah, I'll probably. I don't know when it'll be, but it'll be sometime. Yeah, before
Cool.
too long. I'll get back to you on that. Okay, bye bye.
Awesome. Later.